Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice sunny Saturday morning over here. It is the day after the Dumbola party has started. The liquidation party has begun, and I wanted to focus on where this current move likely finds its next sort of local low and following consolidation, and then where the higher term timeframes likely take on over from there. We'll save the macro and few stuff for tomorrow, but before we get to the actual content of the day, I want to give a major shout out to Mr. Elio Trades. Thank you for all the love shown on your channel and for all the new people who have come on over to here. I wanted to reiterate one of the major points that he said, which is on this channel, we talk about statistics and probabilities, not certainties. Probabilities, that can be done, that can be worked out mathematically. Certainties, I personally have not seen any way to actually do that. And of course, if you are interested in more like long-term investing sort of content, definitely coming from a different angle, check out Elio Trades. I think he's one of the best channels, full-heartedly doing it right now. He's been extremely consistent during this whole bear market, saying that, hey, yeah, we're in a little bit of a rally right now, but it's still a bear market. It's time to relax. And he couldn't be more right. Anyways, other than that, let's just jump into it right now. I should probably quickly show Bybit. They're doing their $1,000 deposit for $1,000 in Ethereum. Check out the small print on that one. There's a lot of it, obviously, but there is a link in the description below to Bybit that will get you into that if you so desire. All right, sweet. Let's start it off right on over here. This is where this is the chart that has really been governing the downside biases. Again, speaking in terms of probabilities, and has once again given us green light for further continuation as of yesterday, or at least most likely, if you will. So first things first, I'll explain the signal, then kind of explain what that means for the next week to come. The signal is this: volatility versus momentum. Volatility represented by this metric right here that my cursor is tracing. Momentum obviously represented by the stochastic, which is right here. And anytime that we have seen the volatility of stochastic momentum at extreme lows, which is defined as basically anything, anything really, really low down here, the turn up from that, the expansion phase from that, which is represented by all of these green vertical bars, had led to an average move of 23.76% done over the course of an average of 8.5 days. The stochastic momentum also just got in the correct direction 90% of the time, probably more than 90% of the time now, because it worked out yet again. And if you understand statistics, the first standard deviation is between 12.12 and 35.4%. So I thought that was very, very interesting. So yesterday we were saying that, hey, from the time that this signal was given, which was back on over here on the 17th to 18th of August, it had already been 8 days as of yesterday. Now it is officially 9 days. So as far as the average days goes, this signal is very mature. Do I think it has more to go? Likely yes, but not that much more in terms of like days. So on the upper end, we have seen the signal take as much as 15 days to play out. The other sort of ones that typically pop up a lot are 10 days, which would pretty much put us at Monday, Tuesday region. And typically speaking, in traditional markets, one of the things that I learned from my experience there and also my mentor is that when you have a down day on Friday, like a big down day, which we certainly saw, closing after being up decently on Friday yesterday, typically get continuation on Monday and maybe even Tuesday as well. And then you get a bit of a turnaround on Tuesday. But the idea is that people panic over the weekend. They read all the news. The world is falling. The sky is on fire, or maybe I have that backwards. I don't fucking know. But sorry, this is not a laughing matter. I will not be laughing again from yesterday. and people typically panic and sell into Monday. And then a bit of a rebound Tuesday, something like that. So that kind of aligns with what we're looking at right here. As far as the average move goes, if we take that from our current high, 23.76% would put Bitcoin basically at about $19,500. So I do think that that's about the area, somewhere reasonably close to there, that we're probably going to be looking at. Now, if you understand statistics, the first standard deviation, as it did say, was between basically just over 12% to about 35.5%. So we expect 68% of the results from this setup to fall within that range. Obviously, this move has already been well above the bottom end of that thus far, about closer to 20%. So, even if it does hit around the average, that would put Bitcoin, again, about $19,500. If it does go for the upper end of that, 35, which might be a little bit less likely, but let's just see where that kind of put us right now. That would put Bitcoin basically in the $17,000 range. So at the current lows, definitely possible as well. But those are kind of the areas where I'd really start to look for, some signs of another consolidation forming and perhaps another attempt at a bounce, basically. Obviously, that's not too helpful because that's a rather big range as of right now. But keep in mind that this signal, was born upon when Bitcoin was like, 25,000 bucks. So ultimately, we're just kind of following up on that. And as this one starts to evolve, well, then we can come back and say, hey, this is where this is most likely to actually try for another low. And it will be likely notified by when the stochastic momentum pivot turns up again. So as of right now, obviously Bitcoin closed below $21,000. That condition remains consistent. So as long as Bitcoin's, below this region, the signal is still active. I would argue, however, that because it is so low already on the stochastic momentum oscillator, it's going to be very, very difficult to kind of keep it down here for long. So we'll have to see where that one evolves to once CME opens back up on Sunday, late Sunday, and then I'll, talk about it on Monday because that's, well, when I record my next video. I won't be like up late at night doing that. And we'll see where that comes once again. So once that starts to cross back up, that's where we start to expect a bit of sideways and bounce action, at least an attempt. But moving on to the next chart over here, this is the next one that I really want to follow up on. So it's similar in all ways to the prior chart in terms of the actual signal, just a different time frame. So again, this is your volatility component. This is your stochastic momentum component right here. What's very interesting about this chart is that because it is a 2-day time frame, it holds significantly more weight than a daily, and we are at extreme lows on the 2-day volatility indicator, as you can see right here. The thing with this one is, and this one's rather somber now, is that, first off, it's likely to take a long time to play out, but because Bitcoin is still below the stochastic momentum pivot, and yes, it did close below that again on Friday, obviously below 24,600, pressure remains to the downside, probabilities remain to the downside for overall continuation within these stats over here. So based upon this current signal, of which we've seen several even in the past few months, the last couple were rather interesting. In fact, the one that brought us down from 40,000 to 25,000 on that move right there, for example, have put in an average move of about 39.43%, done over the course of about 3.5 weeks, let's say. And so that's kind of where I'm, looking for in mid to maybe end of September. Stochastic momentum also has gone the correct direction 7 out of 8 times, which is 87.5%. Standard deviation is 7.41. So that puts our first standard deviation between 32% to basically 47%. So this one's obviously a lot more sobering, if you will, here. And so if I were to play around with the numbers, obviously the average days would put us, decently into, about end of September, something like that. Just looking at my calendar right here, that would account for like, the 14th to like the 21st, somewhere around that region, statistically speaking. What's a lot more maybe not good for the BULAs, or as of right now, because as long as this is to the downside, probabilities will remain to the downside. Again, statistics, not certainties. But first standard deviation is, 32% to as much as almost 47%. So we expect 68% of the results to kind of fall within that range. And if we were to take that from when the signal was given, which that is how this one is measured. So the signal, technically speaking, has not fired off just yet, but the second that this gets a positive slope, the volatility indicator, the second that it gets a positive slope, which it very likely will when it opens up on Sunday and Monday, that is when the signal is confirmed. And then we look at the direction of the stochastic momentum to kind of judge where it's most likely to go. And in this case, as of right now, down. Barring like a heroic green dildo before end of weekend. Anyways, in this case, if we were to shave off, 32%, that would put Bitcoin in like the $15,000 region. Again, that sounds kind of a lot from here, so I would take that with a bit of a grain of salt. I'm just reading statistics. That's all. If we go to I think it was 47%, that would put Bitcoin like 11,000, 12,000 region, which I personally think would be a little bit less likely, at least in September. Now, September, historically speaking, is a down month for Bitcoin. We'll go over that in tomorrow's video. It completely depends upon where we close out August, though, kind of to get where it's most likely to lead towards. But historically speaking, September has been a down month. 9 out of 13 Septembers have been down. Only 2, and 2 of them, not included in that 9, were basically just sideways, and only 2 of them actually closed green, and like decently green, that is. So in this case right here, that can kind of give us a guide as to perhaps how bad things might get into September. Again, things will evolve over time, obviously, but now going into the shorter term timeframes, I wanted to follow up on this signal over here. We got another drive of hidden bearish evidence on the 4-hour RSI for CME. Obviously, that was, well, doesn't not always have a good result as this, but this was certainly a great result. That accompanied with some of the lowest 4-hour BBWP that we've seen on CME in any recent history. This move has legs, and I'd really be looking for this volatility to explode into Monday. So that does imply probably another drive of continuation. Taking it one step further, if we go over here and check out stochastic momentum, 12-hour stochastic momentum is going to be turning down with any sort of a closure. Again, CME is not trading over the weekend, but it will on late Sunday, basically Monday though. It's going to be 20,350 pivot. Bitcoin's obviously below that right now, but a long time left to go. I mean, 2 days basically. So that's a lot of time. 6-hour is pivoted to the downside as long as Bitcoin's below 21,000. 4-hour is also pivoted to the downside below 20,150, which actually Bitcoin's above right now. So there you go. It's saved. And the hourly is probably, it's actually up right now as long as Bitcoin's above 19,950. So coming into Monday, basically, if Bitcoin is going to have another move to the downside, that's when I'd be looking for it. Monday, Tuesday region, based off of the first chart. And kind of what we're looking at over here, $19,500, give or take a little bit from that number, is likely where I'd be looking towards. And if that area starts to give way, that's at the point where I'd start to look for, basically the prior lows, somewhere around like 18 to 17 and a half, somewhere around there, I suppose. But for right now, we do see a major volume spike on 4-hour CME, probably the biggest volume spike that we've seen on this time frame in quite some time, actually, basically since the big old dumpola in May. So does this one have a little bit more legs? Probably yes. As far as that goes. And then we'll come back on Monday, especially Monday, and kind of follow up on those signals and say, hey, is this more likely to try for a low here, or if it's not, and the lower target's going to be more reasonable. So again, this if you're new to this channel, we're just talking in terms of statistics, not certainties. There's no way to do that as far as I know. Other than that, I wanted to let you know that I do a daily Instagram, of which we do content like this, kind of in a more maybe digestible format. And more importantly, there's also like more trading related kind of stuff over there as well, which you may or may not find valuable, as well as non-trading related stuff. So other than that, wanted to wish you well. I think if I haven't already done that. and yeah, with that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.